An inner London council is to start removing Palestinian flags from its infrastructure after receiving hundreds of complaints from residents, including Jewish people distressed by their presence.
Now, Tower Hamlets in East London originally decided against removing the flags, which have been hung up on lampposts and in high streets, because they didn't want to destabilise community cohesion. But residents protested, and the group UK Lawyers for Israel threatened legal action unless the council removed them.
Well, the Member of Parliament Paul Scully last month was accused of Islamophobia for claiming there were no-go areas in the borough of Tower Hamlets. We spoke to him a little bit earlier, but now we're going to speak to someone local to the area, the Conservative councillor for Tower Hamlets, Peter Golds. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. I suppose there's been a difference here with Tower Hamlets compared to lots of other councils. When flags have been put up on public property, they'd been taken down in other areas, but for months in Tower Hamlets, they stayed up.
Absolutely. There are two issues here. Firstly, when the flags were put up on the main roads, which are the TfL roads or big highways, they were taken down instantly with no kickback from any members of the public. But when they were put on the streets that Tower Hamlets are responsible for, they stayed. Now, we're not talking about flags in people's homes. If somebody wishes to put a flag in their home or their window, that's up to them. We believe in free speech and we cannot intervene on that. But flags on lampposts, particularly when it's on every lamppost in a street, is a completely different matter.
And the mayor essentially had to be forced, didn't he, to take down these flags. He didn't really want to. He said they were a sign of solidarity with the residents of Gaza. He spoke of the tens of thousands of people, he said, who have died in the conflict in Gaza. And so he really did not want to do this, did he?
No, I think he was very, very slow on the uptake. But let's be absolutely fair. We have an executive mayor and he has absolute overall control of all decision making, and the chief executive commissioned a report from a lawyer, and the lawyer said legally that the flags were not lawful, and they've been sitting on that report for weeks. So it took action from other groups of people to say, you know, the flags aren't lawful, and if you're not careful, we will take action.
That's an extraordinary thing to learn here, that they were told they were not lawful, but they didn't act, and it had to be external lawyers getting in touch to make sure this happens. Can you just let us know if there have been people getting into contact with you as a local councillor about how they feel about every lamppost, which is supposed to be public, neutral territory, being covered in these flags? Has it made some of your constituents nervous to walk the streets?
It's made not just my constituents, not the people I represent on the Isle of Dogs, but people have been getting in touch with me from across the whole borough. And it's a complete range of people, including people who are from the Bangladeshi Muslim community who support the endeavours of Gaza, of what is going on, and are hostile to the actions of the Israeli government, but feel that they shouldn't have these flags on streets. If you walk down some of the streets, it doesn't look like a London borough. It looks almost like what you would imagine in Ceausescu's Romania, with flags on every street lamp.
Well, Peter, can you let us know what it's like in the council and their activities in Tower Hamlets? How much time, for example, has been spent discussing issues relating to what's happening in the Middle East? Has it dominated quite a lot of time?
No. Let's be absolutely fair to the mayor and the administration. There's a heck of a lot to do in this council. We have extremes of deprivation and, of course, wealth because of the Canary Wharf and City Fringe. We have huge problems on the council. And to be fair, the council spends its time doing council matters. And they said initially, in fact, absolutely carefully at council meetings, we can't interfere with foreign policy, but we got a lot to do on national policy and local policy. Let's concentrate on that. And that is what the council itself has tried to do. But of course, what took place in the streets is a completely different matter. It's not what takes place in the town hall and at council meetings.
So there hasn't been too much pressure that you can see from people living in the borough for the council to take a stance on what's happening in the Middle East, to take a public stance? I mean, besides allowing these flags everywhere, I suppose.
Oh, there most certainly has been, and members of the council and the administration have put their support. But if they go out in the street and go on a march, it's, as I've said, we're talking of free speech. They're entitled to do that, but it's what happens where the council is responding to absolutely everybody, all 320,000 people who live in our borough.
Well, Peter Goulds, you raise a really, really important issue here, and thank you for joining us and telling us a bit what it's like in the borough of Tower Hamlets. Some people might call it the People's Republic of Tower Hamlets.
Thank you very much indeed, Peter Goulds, the Conservative councillor for Tower Hamlets.